Welcome, listener, to another night in the archives. The hour grows late, but the fire is still warm, and the shelves, ever restless, have offered up something curious once again. I am the archivist, and it's my duty, or perhaps it is my obsession, to uncover the forgotten fragments of our realms. Letters, journals, missives that were never sent. The quiet voices that history almost let slip away. Tonight I'll read to you one such piece. The parchment is fragile, the words, they're heavy with time, but if we listen carefully, perhaps we can hear the echoes of the soul who wrote them, and the world that they once belonged to. So then, let us begin. I have before me a letter, found tucked behind a false panel of an oak desk in a cottage near the valley of Riversmeet, in the Fourth Era. Part 3, a letter that was never sent. I wasn't sure I should write this. Letters are meant to travel, after all, and you're far beyond where parchment and ink can reach. But I keep thinking, maybe the words will still find you. Maybe they'll slip between the trees, ride the wind you loved so much, and find their way to wherever you've gone. So here it is, one last letter from home. Dear heart, the hills have begun to thaw. Snowmelt runs through the stones in silver ribbons, and the first crocus has pushed its way through the mud by the fence post. And you'd have smiled to see it. And you always said it looked like courage in bloom. The birds returned early this year, a restless flock sweeping over the valley, calling out as if searching for someone. I watched them for hours, thinking maybe they were calling for you. The cabin feels emptier than I expected. Every shelf still holds your tools. Your bow still rests by the door. Sometimes, I swear I hear it. That small creak it made when you picked it up. They said you didn't suffer, that it was quick, that your watch ended beneath the pines you loved. I try to believe them. Truly, I do. But I still wake at dawn, half expecting to see your shadow against the light, stooping to tie your boots, muttering about the state of the trails. The forest keeps its silence well. It will keep you too, I think. Do you remember that night by the river, when the fire went out and we just sat, watching the fog move like ghosts across the water? You told me the wilds were kinder than most people believed, that they only seemed cruel to those who never listened. I didn't understand then. I think I understand now. The wind in the trees isn't cruel. The rain on the roof isn't lonely. They're just the world's way of speaking softly, the same way you did. I keep your compass on my desk. The needle still quivers, still points north, even though there's nowhere left for me to go. But perhaps that's the trick, isn't it? You never followed the compass for direction. You followed it for purpose. And maybe that's what I have to do now too. They brought me your last letter. I read it until the words blurred. Good night, my heart, good night. I've whispered it back to you every night since. There's a kind of peace in that rhythm, a heartbeat that hasn't quite forgotten its pair. And when I speak it, it feels like you're still listening. And if you are, then know this. You were loved, not just for your courage, but for your quiet, for the way you made stillness feel like safety, for the way you could look at a storm and see only the beauty. I think that's all for tonight. The candles burning low, and the rains beginning to fade. If these words reach you, let them be a lantern in the dark, a small reminder that home still remembers your name. And if they don't, then maybe they'll simply drift, like the seeds you used to scatter in the spring, carried by the wind until something new begins to grow. I'll tend that garden for both of us. Good night, my love. Good night, my ranger. Until the paths cross again, sleep well. Another letter returned to silence. I often wonder what became of those whose words we've just read, whether their stories ended in peace, or if their echoes still linger, waiting for someone, anyone, to remember. But for now, this one will rest here, among the other voices of the forgotten. Thank you for keeping me company tonight, here amongst the dust and the candlelight. If you'd like to hear more of the stories I've uncovered, the archives are always open. You need only listen. And if you have stories that you would like to add to the archive, or know where I can unearth more, send your missives by courier or scrying stone. Until next time, traveler.